What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 180 of the Rise to Glory here at Gibraltar Apex. And today, I have for you guys a end of season review, as well as a little bit of an update to this series just as a whole. So if you missed last episode, first and foremost, go check it out. Champions League final, it was incredible. If you're wondering, Jack, why is the Manchester 62 game already played? I said I was going to play that game in this episode. The reason that I've not recorded it is because I was recording it, and the game actually crash dumped, which is the first ever crash dump I've had in, well, 23 seasons of this save, and it happened in the middle of a game. It was right in the middle of recording. It kind of threw in a spanner in the works. So I kind of left it out, and I'm actually recording this a little bit after the end of season. I've actually started recording into next season, just to give you a bit of behind the scenes. But the reason I delayed recording this was because I figured it'd be an opportunity just to talk a little bit about the future of this save, my channel, what's going to be happening over the next week or so, actually. So yeah, to begin with, just a little bit of news. Next season, I'm afraid to say, will be the last season here at Gibraltar Apex for FM16. I want to give myself a break before Football Manager 2017. Obviously, I've been continuously pumping out videos for pretty much the entire year. You may have noticed the videos are slowed down a little bit of late. That's just with a little bit of my interest perhaps in FM16 dwindling. Hopefully you guys understand. It's getting to that slow down part of the year. So I have already recorded all the World Cup games and the first game of next season. And yeah, season 24 will be our final season. For people wondering about the save game, I've had loads of people asking me, Jack, give us the save game, please. I'm not going to do it yet. With my saves, people often ask me this, and the reason I don't share them is because when I first started my channel, people used to take my saves, put screenshots of them online and claim they were their own saves. And the other issue I had was that people would play my saves, use Genie Scout, or just play into the future in Holiday Forward and then just tell me who all the good players were, which was, well, just a little bit boring, really. I think with this save, it's the kind of save I will continue to play when FM17's out, you know, when I've kind of had a few saves and I want to go back to something familiar. So I won't be sharing the save immediately. I do hope you guys understand that. For me, I feel like Football Manager saves are quite a personal thing. You spend hundreds of hours, in this case thousands of hours, into them, and there's something special about them that makes them kind of special to you, and I kind of feel like just letting any other person play them, just I don't know, it's not that I don't like the thought of that, but it's just like you've worked so hard to get something and then people just want to play your save because it's A, easy for them to win with, or B, they just want to do better than you, which kind of defeats the whole point in a game like Football Manager, which is single player. But anyway, a little bit of news, as I said. Next week, I'm away for an entire week. I don't think I can talk about what I'm actually doing, but I'm up in Scotland. It's a big kind of project, is part of my work. I'm away for that time, so I'm going to have videos scheduled throughout next week. So just be aware, you know, if I'm a little bit quiet, I've not gone anywhere. The videos are hopefully still going to be coming. I've not actually rendered and scheduled them all up yet, but if you kind of see a little bit of a gap here and there, please understand that's why. And if there's any issues with the videos in advance, you know, and the wrong one goes up in the wrong order, I am sorry. I'm going to try not to make that happen. I don't think I've ever made that mistake yet with scheduling videos. But anyway, that's kind of just a little bit of about what's going on with me. Hopefully you guys understand all that jazz. Of course, World Cup still very much to look forward to. And today we get to reflect on one hell of a season. Of course, the season that we finally did it. We won the Champions League. It was a slog, but it's been worth it. I mean, I feel like this episode in a lot of ways would be easy enough to end now. You know, I would have been quite confident and quite content just ending the series now. But with the World Cup going on, obviously that's not really a factor. And we do still have time for one last hurrah to try and win it back-to-back, the Champions League, which would be an incredible achievement if we can do it. Of course, looking at the club history, continental reputation, 4-star, we're rich. Of course, founded back in 2015, still at the Space Park. And yeah, I mean, it's been a good little adventure, hasn't it? You can see here, Gibraltar Lions, our fierce rivals, of course. A little bit of club information here, the legends and stuff. I think, you know, when it comes to the last episode, we'll go through this in a lot more detail. So actually, let's focus on the squad that we have now and what they've achieved. So this year, what happened? Well, we almost bottled it in the league. That's perhaps the place to start. Of course, the Premier Division, a competition that we've long dominated. But this year, we had 3 draws. The league finally getting competitive. You can see Manchester 62 actually drawing against us twice, 0-0. In both those games, we were by far and away the better team. We just didn't have any end product, really. You can see here 15 shots. They actually had more possession in this game. Manchester 62, a very possession-based side, but we showed that we were superior to them. You can see in this game especially, they had 1 shot on target all game. They defended for their lives, but fair play to them. They got a point there. So the Premier Division kind of went as you'd expect. Just looking at the league table, of course, some interesting stuff, I guess, was the fact that Gibraltar Lions here, you can see they finished 6th. They really did bottle it this year. It was a pretty poor performance by them in kind of general, really. You can see College Europa, Manchester 62, Lincoln Red Imps and Gibraltar Phoenix going to be the teams with European football next year. I do wonder if this is a blip for Gibraltar Lions because, well, they've been the second best team for a very, very long time, and one season, doesn't make them suddenly terrible. It's worth noting that Daniel Duarte, their manager, who's been in charge for this entire kind of period, really, since 2021, he's not been sacked, which I really like, the fact that they're willing to stick with him and, give him another chance to redeem himself next season. At the other side of the table, kind of, St. Joseph's got relegated. Cannons winning the relegation playoff. Of course, College Europa, as I already mentioned, finishing 2nd. A really, really good achievement for them. Looking at the stats as a whole, let's go to the player stats page. But you can see here, top goal scorer, Sebastien Girard, and top of the assists as well. Not a bad little feat by him by any means. The Belgium, just a fantastic player. Of course, out with a damaged foot at the moment. But a good player. Mokoena actually got 2nd top goal scorer. He plays for Lincoln Red Imps. He's a good striker. Probably not a £70,000 a week striker, but a very good player. He got 18 goals and 7 player of the matches across 23 Primera Division games. You can see Mosca and Duz actually coming 3rd and 4th in the top goal scorers. And it was Molinelli for Gibraltar Lions actually coming in 5th in the chart. So he's done pretty well as well, to be fair, Molinelli. You can see they brought him in for £7 million. He's got goals for them. That's kind of what they would have hoped from him. Anyway, if we now take a look at the average ratings, which we will go to if I can find them. Where are they? I guess we have to look at them here. Let's do it this way. So average ratings, you can see we kind of topped it, which isn't entirely surprising. But perhaps what is surprising is Gaiganov, an 8.47 average rating for him. Of course, 29 years old, the Ukrainian. Such an experienced player for us, such a great player for us as well. A player who has single-handedly won us games. And this year, he's been really, really good in the league. You can see 14 assists there. Also managed to muster up 7 in continental competitions, which was great. And, well, he's just been a long-term part of our team and been fantastic ever since joining us from Bayern for £26 million. Really looking like a bargain, to be honest. I say this now 5 years on. He's always looked like a bargain, but more so than ever, really, when you look at his career as a whole. Anyway, players who weren't our own performing well. Van der Berg did well, the Belgian right-back, 24 years old, good little player, been playing at College Europa for a few years now. Joined them for £4.2 million this year. 12 player of the matches in 24 games. Half the games he played in as a right-back. He got man of the match. Maybe right back's a little bit OP. Hopefully, we won't see too much of that in FM17. Another player who played well, Ted Macy of Manchester 62, joined from Preston for £1.3 million, a 7.96 average rating for him. Definitely not anything to be scoffed at. Jorge Assad had a good performance by us, as did Vincinius, of course, a player who played a fair bit this year. The young Brazilian centre mid, a quality player, and a 7.64 average rating for him. Really, really good, actually. Not quite as well as he did last year, where he got an 8.13, but again, nothing you can really kind of be too ashamed of, really. Anyway, if we just have a quick look through the rest of the player stats, kind of in brief. I could spend hours going through all of them, but I don't think it's that interesting. Van der Berg and Mokoena both getting in the player of the matches. In terms of yellow cards, Ramadan Mustafa up there with 5, which across 27 games doesn't seem that crazily high. I'm actually surprised with how fewer bookings kind of the most booked players have. Anyway, in terms of appearances, Cannons players lead the way. The reason for that being alphabetical order, and in addition, they also played that one playoff game to stay up in the league. In terms of team goals, Jorge Assad, the player who, when he's on the pitch, we get the most goals. Sebastien Girard in second, perhaps a somewhat more important indicator, I guess, of that. And you can see here, Assad pretty much played every game for us this year. 24 games won. Of course, we drew 3 games of our 27, so he did well there. If we look at award winners for the league, Player of the Year this year went to Sebastien Girard. Gaiganov coming 2nd. Well, you can see Van der Berg coming 3rd. If we now look at the Manager of the Year, it was us. Not entirely surprising, really. In terms of Goal of the Season, something different. We got a goal. I don't know if I can view. Can I view this? If I click here, will it just preview this goal? It will. Excellent. Well, we got Goal of the Season. This never happens. So I was well happy when this flew in. Right, let's just quickly change to 3D because I feel like Goal of the Season, you want to see it in 3D. It's worth noting with this goal, I think we were already 7 or 8-0 up at this point with 5 minutes left, but this goal, when it flew in, incredible scenes by Volsky, just an absolute screamer, bang. I mean, I've seen better goals scored by us, but it won goal of the season. Actually, Gilvan won it 2 years ago as well, so I'm a liar there when I say we've never won it. But for a long period of time, as you can see, we just never were involved in the goal of the season. A little bit disappointing, really. But we've had a few in recent years, which is always nice. Anyway, in terms of team of the season, perhaps gets a little bit more interesting here. We have plenty of players in this list, which is nice to see. In midfield, a few players who aren't ours. 2 wide men, actually. Lincoln Red Imps. Jason Burns, Englishman, out on the left-hand side in the team of the year. Chumbinho, what a name that is. Brazilian, 28 years old. Signed this year, as you can see, for £1.8 million from the Romanian side. Astro, who, of course, I think in real life recently have knocked out West Ham twice in the Europa League. He's played well out on the right, and Petrak playing well down the middle. Of course, worth noting that with our team, we, of course, don't play with wide men. So we're always a little bit handicapped when it comes to our chances of getting in the team of the year. Top goal scorer is Girard again. We've dominated this award for a number of years. Prieto back in 2031, so 7 years ago now, kind of ruined that record a little bit, but lots of Gibraltar Apex names, a real variety of strikers. You know, you've got players like Alguacil, who unfortunately retired age 26, Ben Connolly, Jack Peachman, of course, Mark Stewart won it twice. You may remember the Scottish player, fantastic player for us, of course, signed from Celtic, ended up ending his career at Rangers. Don't know how that would have gone down with the Glasgow faithful, really. Callum Oakley, a player who I occasionally see get mentioned in the comments. He's 35 now, playing in the MLS. I love that. That's such a cool little transfer. He's not playing that well for them, and he's kind of lost all his pace at this point, Oakley, but still a really good finisher. And, well, to see him tearing up MLS is, well, fairly nice, isn't it? In terms of Young Player of the Year, it went to Vincinius this year, which was quite nice because over the last 3 or 4 years, we've never won this award. So to have one of our youngsters win it this year, that was really, really special. Very happy, of course, with that. In terms of team stats, you can see here we got 108 goals. The rest of the goal-scoring teams can be seen below. In terms of form, College Europa actually ended the season with the best form. We are still unbeaten in 468 games. Our average attendance of 15,500, the highest in the league. Again, not entirely surprising. College Europa at Manchester 62, beating the 2,000 fan average, though, which is a really good achievement. And quite curiously, St Joseph's, who of course got relegated this year, finishing rock bottom, the 4th highest average attendance. In terms of net transfer spend for the year, you can see lots of teams spending lots of money. Ours, I thought, was going to be up here, but apparently it's not. But yeah, you can see here they spend a lot of money. I guess that's because the Lowell deal technically hasn't gone through yet. So actually, we've made £60 million this year, which is kind of nice, I guess you could say. In terms of red cards, we've not had that many. Average attendance, we've already talked about it. Why is that appearing twice? Answers on a postcard. Average possession. Worth noting here, Gibraltar Phoenix and Manchester 62. 2 teams who really like to keep hold of the ball. We, of course, looked at a game between ourselves and Manchester 62 where they had 59% of possession. And they have become quite a formidable team at keeping hold of the ball. Okay, guys, so I'm actually slotting this bit in after recording the entire of the most recent episode that you're in the middle of watching. I forgot at the end of it, as I hit stop record, to talk about the Europa League, because we did have a few Gibraltarian sides go reasonably far in this competition this year. So I do want to cover this. I didn't want to leave it out. So here I am. I'm back again. Or, well, I'm back halfway through the episode for you guys. But yes, let's have a look. So as you can see here, we have the group stage for the Europa League. College Europa finished second in their group. They actually finished tied with Villarreal and Wolfsburg. I believe this is something that we've already looked at the group stage, but just to refresh your memory so you can kind of see how the sides got on. So they did well in Group B. The next kind of Gibraltarian side who did reasonably well, of course, was Manchester 62. In Group I, they got 8 points with 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses, but they went through ahead of Braga on head-to-head in a group that, of course, consisted of them, Braga and, well, Fulham and Hibs. So that was really good for them, obviously, to reach the knockout stages. And the other side who went on to do good things this year, Gibraltar Lions, topping their group, actually, unbeaten as well. 3 draws, 3 wins, but those 3 wins, 2 of them against the team who finished second in the group, Marseille. So that was all very interesting. So, of course, from that, the knockout stages began, and as we can see here, Gibraltar Lions actually won against Standard Liège 4-2 on aggregate. A good performance. It actually relied on a 4-2 second leg performance at home. They got 2 fairly late goals, which of course meant the difference because at 2-2 Standard would have gone through on away goals. The other Gibraltarian side, you can see here, Manchester 62 knocking out Lazio, the Italian giants, 1-1 on aggregate. The first draw was a 0-0 draw. In the second leg, Gary Hilton, an 85th minute goal there, ensured that Manchester 62 went through on away goals. Of course, the young English winger, a very good player, and he was the difference for them there. The other Gibraltarian side, unfortunately, not going through. College Europa, they got absolutely smashed by Fulham. And, well, as you can see here, they lost fairly convincingly, 4-1 on aggregate. A 1-1 initial first leg result, not enough. And, well, they got knocked out of the entire competition. Anyway, moving on into the second leg, this was where the Gibraltarian dream came crumbling down. Gibraltar Lions crashing out, as you can see here, 5-1 against eventual Europa League winners, Tottenham. A good performance by Tottenham. They actually overturned the deficit here in this second leg, as you can see, with Gonzalez and Hay getting goals. Unfortunately for Gibraltar Lions, the 3-0 initial defeat at White Hart Lane, or whatever Tottenham Stadium is now. I'm pretty sure they always get a new stadium, so I don't even know what it's called. Let's check. What is Tottenham Stadium called? It's a mystery. I'm on the wrong screen. This is awkward. Facilities, right. Where are they? Where's the stadium? Oh, it's called New White. Well, brilliant. New White Hart Lane. They were imaginative when they came up with that stadium name. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. That 3-0 defeat in that first leg really hurt Gibraltar Lions. Unfortunately, Manchester 62 also went out. They went out, actually, on away goals as they lost 2-2 on aggregate. They lost 2-1 at home in the second leg. They actually mustered up a 1-0 win. Unfortunately, that was not good enough. You can see they really did FM Galatasaray in this game. One shot, one goal to get the win on the night, but that just simply put wasn't enough. So anyway, that's a little bit about how the Europa League went. I wanted to stick this in. Let's get back into the rest of the episode, and hopefully you enjoy the rest of what's coming up. Anyway, that's the Primera Division. Let's talk about the ROK Cup and the what do we want to call it? The Senior League Cup real quick. Two kind of tournaments that we kind of care about, we kind of don't. We won both of them, which was always nice. My columns are completely broken here, so we'll fix that. But yeah, of course, we played against Gibraltar Lions. We beat them in the Senior League Cup. We then beat College Europa. We then beat... who did we beat? We then beat Manchester 62 in the final. So that was good. We beat kind of three of the big dogs in Gibraltar. In the ROK Cup, a little bit fortuitous. We beat 5th place Gibraltar Phoenix after extra time in the second round. That was a let-off. We then beat Cannons 3-0. We followed that up with a win 4-1 against College Europa. A really emphatic result, really. And as I mentioned, the game that you guys missed that I was going to live com, but I had a crash dump halfway through, we ended up winning 1-0, albeit slightly unconvincingly. It was a little bit annoying, actually, because when I crash dumped during this game, I was 2-0 up with about 20 minutes left. I only played through the game once more, 1-0. You know, there's not a lot you can do when your game crashes midway through a game. It's just one of those things you have to deal with. So anyway, those are kind of the domestic games. Of course, there's one tournament that we've wanted to do for a while, and here it is. The Champions League. The tournament that has been kind of that thing that I've been striving for years, and it's been a very long slog to get here. 15 or 16 years, I think, of Champions League kind of familiarity to kind of get to where we are now. Of course, the group stage was fairly good for us. 5 wins, 1 defeat. That defeat coming against Stuttgart, but wins against Benfica twice, 4-2 and 4-3, who, of course, we played in the final and beat 4-2, were good little results. In terms of in the first knockout round, we lost 2-1 and we bounced back amazingly, really. We won 5-0 in the second leg. If we just look at that game, you can see Girard with 4 goals, really single-handedly carrying the team. Moving on into the quarterfinals, we beat Manchester United very convincingly 8-3. In the semi-final, a familiar foe in the form of Real Madrid, we relied on away goals in this game, but it was a Douz late goal that got the win for us. And in the final game, and in the final, of course, last episode, Benfica 4, ourselves 4, Benfica 2. That would have been awkward if Benfica won it. But, of course, it was extra time that we relied on Dominic Eller with a screamer of a goal that will go down in folklore. And that was what won it all for us. I've seen a few comments as well mentioning Brendan the Space Jack. What's happening with Brendan? Here he is. He's not very good. He's not going to the World Cup. He's improved a lot. Well, he could improve a lot in the future. He's shown a weakness in his determination recently. He's played 3 games for us. He's got 1 goal. I might try and play him a lot more next season because he looks like he could be an okay finisher. He's just crap everywhere else, really. But yeah, Brendan the Space, our son, of course, in the side. If we just take a look at the team as a whole, I've got to be honest, I've not studied the stats like I sometimes do going into these end-of-season episodes. So I can't give you a load of interesting facts. Perhaps some interesting facts worth noting is the fact that when the Mech, Bismarck and Cesar Leonardo have played, we've never lost. Bismarck, perhaps the most impressive of those. He's played in 14 games. He's won every single game he's been part of. The right midfielder, Brazilian, a very good player. Perhaps if I was playing with right midfielders, he'd get even more thirsty in football. But you can see 6 goals for him and 10 assists in 11 league games is a really, really top performance by him, really. Anyway, looking at other players who have contributed well. Key passes. Who is the key passer in the team? Well, you can see here, Sebastian Girard, 277. eclipses absolutely everyone else. In terms of minutes per game, Veronese and Gaiganov leading the way there, as well as Ludovic Young when he plays. Three players who very rarely get subbed off once they start playing. In terms of the most minutes on the pitch, it was Gaiganov with 3,700, which is absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure he played every minute of football in a game he played in, and I don't recall him missing too many games. He might have missed one game in Europe, but regardless, really impressive by him. In terms of the goals, you can see here Girard, Mosca, Duz, Assad. Assad on 10. A little bit weird that a centre-back gets 4th top goal scorer, but I guess when you've got Girard, Mosca and Duz just banging in goals for fun, it's not entirely surprising. Of course, Duz got some massively important goals for us, the 24-year-old. Mosca, he's had his injuries in the past. He's really overcome them. Been turning up big for Gibraltar's national team. 27-year-old, really giving a great performance this season. And of course, Sebastian Girard. We've already talked about him, but the man who really has carried this squad on his back over the last few years. And at £12 million now, he's looking like a real bargain, isn't he? 5 years he's been at the club. He joined us when he was 18 or 19. He's been fantastic throughout that period of time, and the goals that he's got have been very, very important for us. Worth noting, Glenn Andre actually also up there, the 19-year-old, a player who is touted actually to go to the World Cup. I've seen a few news items about that. That would be awesome if he could go there. There's a few other players in our team who I'd like to see go if possible, but I know that's kind of unlikely, I guess, in a lot of ways. In terms of assists this year, Gaiganov and Girard getting 55 between them. Backing them up, Mosca, Cabasele out at left back, of course, doing a great job for us, the Belgium. Bismarck, who we've already talked about. Paul Smith getting his fair share as well. I do feel like Paul Smith, Joe Bouchard and Ludovic Young just deserve massive nods because, of course, they're players who have been at the club over the last 15 years or so. If you just look at kind of Paul Smith here, it's a sad state of affairs. He's getting old, is Paul. He's gone from having, 19.2 agility about... I mean, these years are screwed up. What is this bug? Apparently we're in the year 58, but it's 38. I feel like I saw this bug before. If I go to other players, I think all the dates are fine. It's just players who have been at the club a certain period of time, it seems to break it. I guess the game doesn't expect you to keep hold of the same player for kind of 15 years. You can see for most players it's fine, even players like Volsky. Weird. Anyway, what I was going to show you was the fact that Paul Smith is aging, but he's done very well for us as Paul Smith. You can see his pace is completely gone now, but 101 caps for Australia, 34 years old. He's lived the apex life, really, hasn't he? He's never played less than 10 games in a season in the league, and he's just been fantastic for us. A player who deserves massive, massive respect. Other players who, I guess, fall into the similar band. We already talked about Ludovic Young, a player who has actually made some rumbles about potentially wanted to move on now. I feel like now that he's won the Champions League, I won't hold on to him if he just wants to leave. But he's been a great player for us over the years. Another player, of course, who definitely needs a mention, Joe Bouchard. Not played many minutes for us this year, if I'm honest. And, well, you look at his physicals, they've really fallen off a cliff as well. It's kind of sad that a player with once kind of 15 pace now only has 8. And you can see for him, his years are broken as well. I guess it's when a player's played for like over 15 years. Maybe it just breaks the progression graph. But either way, those players, they've been at the club so long, and it's such a monumentous kind of achievement what they've done whilst they've been here. I mean, when you kind of look at our custom squad view and look at the age of the players, we have so many younger players, but it's kind of when you look at the older players like Ludovic Young, Paul Smith, Joe Bouchard, and it's when you look at their history as well that you kind of realise how much they've done for the side. So those guys deserve massive, massive plaudits. In terms of average ratings, we've already talked about a lot of these players. Villalba's done well. Of course, he rejoined us in January. Just a very versatile player who can play both full-back positions. Former player of ours as well, which was nice. He came back and gave some good performances. Drew Espinoza played very well as well, the German, out on the left-hand side. Was going to be my long-term replacement for Paul Smith. Probably still will be that long-term replacement, although he looks like a very good striker too. Dominic Eller deserves a nod, got that massive goal for us in the Champions League final. 19 years old, played lots of first-team football for us over the last few years, developed as a result of it, and £13 million for him, looking like a real steal. So yeah, this concludes another season. I have to apologise for the fact this episode is perhaps a little bit short and a little bit lacking detail. I feel like there's so much I want to talk about with this save as a whole. And whilst part of me is like, this is the moment to talk about it all, the other part of me kind of thinks, well, I still got one more season to try and make some more stuff happen. Of course, I'm sure in the very last end of season review, rather than being a season review, it'll be kind of a really, really long series review. I don't know how long it'll take me to get through 24 years. I don't know. It's going to be a challenge. I've not quite worked out how I'm going to do that just yet. But no, I have to apologise, as I said, for the fact that the videos have slowed down of late. as I said, just not feeling FM16 so much recently. I still love this save, but it's been pretty much 12 months of continuously playing this game. Of course, I'm away for a week, as I already talked about. I've got someone house sitting in my flat, which is nice. They'll be guarding my FM saves with their life. I'm maybe try and play this save a little bit on the go, although I'm not going to be able to record videos whilst I'm away. But no, it's been a great series. It's been a great season, of course, to finally win the Champions League. I'm massively grateful to all you guys who have shown support of this save. As I said, next season will be the last season, and I know for some people that is going to be disappointing. But the series had to come to an end at some point, and well, the FM kind of 17 beta is probably only a month away at this point. I don't want to play too much FM in the lead up to that. I want to have a bit of a break, you know, kind of, what's the word, rejuvenate myself, recharge my batteries, come back hot and fresh for the new game. Hopefully you guys are going to obviously be looking forward to FM 17. I'm super excited to get into it, if I'm honest, and I'm dead proud of this save, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything close to this next year. I think that would be almost impossible at this point. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed today's end of season live com, leave a like. If you've got any comments, leave them down below. Let me know what you'd like to see and how I could maybe do the last episode of this series where we review everything. I feel like it might be a case of I just sit around for like 2 hours straight, just rambling away about everything. But who knows? And yeah, well, that's all from me. I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm going to have a nice holiday. Hopefully you guys do too. Hopefully you guys enjoy the World Cup episodes upcoming. And yeah, other than that, it is me, Jack. And I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.